Probably the question I get asked about the most is how do I learn C Sharp? Knowing what path to take can greatly increase your speed in arriving at your destination. So I thought I'd take the time in this video to get you started wherever you're at in your C Sharp journey. I'm going to lay out for you what steps to take and in what order in order to maximize your learning experience. I'll also give you some resources to help you get started. Before I do, let me introduce myself. My name is Tim Corey, and it's my goal to make learning C Sharp easier. If that is something that interests you, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. I'd also appreciate it if you take the time to hit the thumbs up on this video, because doing so helps increase this video's popularity, which enables me to help more developers. So, how do I get started in C Sharp? Or if you're already a C Sharp developer, how do you fill in the gaps in your education and take the next step? I've been working on improving the answer to those questions for years. I have developed a number of resources with over 200 videos on YouTube and more than a dozen courses on my training site. The problem is that you still need to know what you need to learn next. You need to know what technology you're missing in order to go and look for that training on it. So I've started to work on a solution to help you identify what is your next step. And today I'm giving away a free guide to help you better understand where to go. Now, before we get started, I do want to point out that I will be talking today a little bit about paid resources. However, if you don't want to pay or you can't pay, don't worry. All the resources I'm providing give you a free option because I am deeply committed to helping everyone learn, not just people who can pay. So if you don't have the money, you're just going to spend a little more time learning. And that's actually a good thing. So don't worry about money. You're free to say no to anything that says money. Okay? I just want to stress that right up front. All right, so let's look at this free resource. This is a PDF we just recently came up with. And what it's designed to do is help you get unstuck and know what's the next step to take as a C Sharp developer. Now, I'm saying C Sharp developer, and some of you are saying, well, what about ASP.NET developers? Or what about WPF developers? And here's the first tip. All of those different types of developers are at heart C Sharp developers. ASP.NET Core developers are C Sharp developers. WPF developers are C Sharp developers. The user interface is important, but it's a small percentage of the overall knowledge you need. The vast majority will be C Sharp. So I would encourage you, I would stress, learn C Sharp first. And that may mean that you learn C Sharp in the context of something that you're not intending to use. Meaning, you might learn to use C Sharp using console applications. In fact, when I teach new developers how to learn C Sharp, we learn the console. It doesn't matter if you want to be a web developer. You learn the console because it's the simplest and it stays out of the way for you. Okay? So just note that even though you might be learning a user interface that's not your preferred, you're still going to learn a ton about C Sharp, and that's the most important thing. Okay? So this is about C Sharp right now. We'll get into more about how do you expand out of that, but let's start with C Sharp. So what we've done here is we have broken up the learning path as simply as possible and designed basically two paths for you. There's a self-guided path and the easiest path. Now again, the easiest path does take money, okay? These are courses that I sell. Now, you don't have to take those, and I'm going to show you how to use, especially this first course right here, for free, how to use it to help guide your self-guided learning path, okay? Now, to tell you a quick story, I spent about 5 years teaching C Sharp in the classroom. I taught at a local college, and I spent that time growing and honing my skills to teach. And one of the things that we went through is kind of reordering how the book taught C sharp. We had a book for C sharp and it wasn't that good. And quite frankly, if you have a book on C sharp, it's probably not great. Most of them aren't. And the reason why is not the author's fault. The author is probably great at what they do. But C sharp moves so fast that it's hard to put in a book and get it approved and into print and then into a classroom with any type of speed. So one of the things I learned is how to reorder that book, because part of it isn't about the content, it's about the order of the content. How you learn C sharp can make it more difficult or less. And so it's very important that you take the steps in the right order. Often, books will teach you a little bit of magic to start with. So, and I hate magic. If you've ever watched any of my videos, you know that I hate magic. And what I mean by magic is you'll start something and they'll say, just do this. We're not going to explain why it works or how it works. Just know it works. But then if the magic breaks, and it often does, then you're left kind of in a place where, how do I do this now? What do I do? And you're left frustrated and confused. And I don't want that. So I created this Foundation in C Sharp course series. And if you click on this, it'll actually take you right to the page for this, which is actually a number of courses in here. So it's a total of 10 courses, and these are lined out in order with an eye towards making sure that you understand C Sharp in a foundational way, in a way that'll prepare you to be a junior level developer or even a mid-level developer, depending on how you practice. But it'll prepare you in a way that makes sense, so that by the time you get to the parts that would seem like magic, you understand how the magic works. So when it breaks, you know how to fix it. All right? So that's how I've laid out the Foundation in C Sharp series. It's designed to take you from the beginning, we're just getting started installing Visual Studio, what is C Sharp, through the basics of common syntax and debugging, and then the start of object-oriented programming. And let me pause for a minute. And this is important. We build an application based upon our learning so far. Basically, we're putting the pieces together into what would feel like a real application. Now, it's a tiny application, but it's putting those pieces together so you understand how they fit together. Because learning one piece at a time, which is what most tutorials will teach you, that's great, but it's hard to figure out how to integrate that in the rest of the whole. And that's where these big projects come into play. And then we continue on with more object-oriented programming, some deeper stuff. And then we get into the common project types. So we'll cover things like WPF and WinForms and ASP.NET Core, MVC and Razor Pages and API and all the rest of these project types. They're pretty common to be used. And then we get into data access, because that's a big one. How do you get data to and from the screen? Because that's the foundation of most applications, is dealing with data. So we'll talk about SQL type like Microsoft SQL and MySQL. And we'll talk about NoSQL and things like MongoDB and Cosmos DB and quite a few other options, including using Dapper versus Entity Framework and other things like that. And then we get into another start to finish application where we take, again, now the cumulative of 9 courses or 8 courses, we take that cumulative knowledge and build an application out of that. And it's a desktop application with web application parts and an API, and it really kind of puts everything together. And then finally, we talk about how do you move forward from here? How do you launch your career forward? How do you get help? How do you learn C# well? And a lot of the things that become question marks early on in your career, we tackle in this course. How to apply for a job, those type of things. Okay? So this is kind of the design for what I would say is my perfect start. Okay? The foundation in C#, that's my attempt at making a perfect start for you in C#. It's designed to be comprehensive, and it's designed to be not overwhelming. All right? And that's where I'd recommend you start. But like I said, I'm not encouraging you I'm not asking you to spend money. And this course does cost money. This series is not cheap. But you don't have to pay for it if you don't want. Here's a little trick. First of all, this first course is free. Now, this first course is just getting you started, so it's getting a few things set up, and it will walk you through starting off with Visual Studio and getting started with C# in your very first program, as a getting started cheat sheet as well. So you can kind of see more information about that course. I'm not even enrolled. Excellent. But that's Module 1. It's free. Just enroll for free. You're good to go. Module 2 is not free. However, if you click on Module 2 and you scroll down here to Course Curriculum, it talks through, notice you can expand out here, it talks through all the different sections we're going to cover. Basic variables, conditionals like if, type conversion. There's a mini project, there's a do while, there's arrays, lists, dictionary, for each, methods. Okay, this is what this course covers. Now, like I said, it's not free, but if you don't want to or cannot spend the money for this course, what you can do is write down these topics. Okay? Identify what these topics are, and I've tried to be very clear as to in my titles what we're going to cover, and then go to YouTube and find that information. Find the videos that cover that particular thing, and then watch those videos. So you can still get the order that I think is most ideal to learn. You can still learn these 10 courses in order, but you just take those lesson headers, go to YouTube, and find the videos that best fit those needs. Okay? So that's how you use the foundation course for free. Even though you could buy it, and that's the easy path, but if you want to do it yourself, you can just take those lesson headers and find the content on YouTube. Now, I do want to show you a real quick trick here that a lot of people miss. If you go to my homepage or my channel's homepage, there's this little search icon right here. It's different than the search icon at the top. This search icon down here allows you to search my channel, not just every channel, my channel. So that if you're looking for a specific topic, let's say you're wondering about async, you hit enter, and it's going to search just my topics and find async await, advanced async, calling APIs, which actually uses async, and Dapper, which also uses async for advanced Dapper. So, and there'll be a few more that maybe don't apply as much, but the first few results especially should be on the topic you're looking for. So that's how you can use the foundation course and my channel in order to get the most out of your learning experience for free. But I've made it even easier. If you notice on the right here, we have a self-guided path. And what this is I've taken all of my videos on YouTube and I have arranged them in playlists in order to kind of best order how they should be watched. So even if you don't want to figure out your own order, what I've done is I've created these playlists, and here's the order for them: getting started, advanced topics, data access, user interfaces, and so on. I would encourage you to watch them in this order. So you can either click on them here and it will take you right to that playlist, or on my YouTube channel, you will see this learning path section, and they're in order here. So getting started, advanced topics, data access, user interfaces, and so on. And you'll notice there are quite a few videos in each: 22, 29, 10, 20, 4, and then 65, 28, and 42 right now. So there's a lot of content in these videos. So this will allow you to figure out where you're at in your learning path and step right in at that point. So for example, maybe you're not a new developer, but maybe you're still trying to fill in some gaps and you're kind of halfway towards being a mid-level developer. And you're trying to think, okay, I need some advanced topics, but I'm not sure what. If you go to the full playlist, they're in order. So you can read through this and say, okay, I understand random and interfaces, abstract classes I have trouble with. I'm going to start there. And then you can maybe even skip generics and events because you got that. But delegates, there's a tricky topic. And async await, that's one that it seems like everybody needs that because there's some really confusing stuff out there. And really, async is quite easy to use once you really understand it. So these are in order. There's a solid principles, dependency injection, unit testing, mocking, logging, different kinds of logging. So you can jump in here at any point and kind of pick up and go from there. Now, if we go back to the flyer here for a minute, that's step 1 is this foundation in C#, and that kind of covers the first 4 playlists or so. Okay? And it's not a one-to-one relationship, but it's pretty close. And foundation, we usually cover a lot more than these first 4. So there's going to be topics that I haven't covered specifically on YouTube. You'll have to find from a different resource if you want them for free. And that's just because I don't have time. I've got a lot to cover, and I'm really trying hard to do that. All right? So roughly, the Foundation series covers these first 4 playlists. Step 2 really talks about the application lifecycle design. It talks about the idea of how to manage and deploy software like a professional. And what I mean is it talks about how to do source control and how to do a CI/CD pipeline, which means a continuous integration, continuous deployment, what those are and how they work, and how you could implement that in a work environment through deployment. Okay, so we actually deploy to Azure, and you see how to have a development site with development databases, and a staging site with staging databases, and a production site with production databases, and how to manage all of those and keep them updated and move updates from one to the other, and how to do all that in an automated fashion. This is the type of tool that a professional developer really needs to know how to use in order to make their lives easier and safer. Because as you build software, if you try and deploy it manually, what's going to happen is you're going to miss something or forget something. And that's where you start having problems. And you don't want to have problems with your users. And you don't want to have this mess or this resource that you're afraid to touch, where I'm not sure I want to deploy on a Friday night because it might break stuff. Well, an automated system like a CI/CD pipeline, you can deploy on Friday night and you'll be okay. Okay, it'll take care of you. So really important stuff to learn there. That kind of covers the deploying applications in C# playlist. Those are similar. And then we have a couple of full courses here. Now, these 2 full courses are actually both on YouTube. Notice that this playlist right here, C# app, and the Timco Retail Manager, or Timco down here, these correspond pretty much one-to-one to each other. So let's talk about the C# application first. Now, this is the complete C# application, which means it includes 2 add-ons. The YouTube course doesn't include those 2 add-on courses. So the add-on courses replace the user interface with WPF using MVVM, and also replaces it with ASP.NET MVC is the other one. Okay, so but also this complete C# application, the main course has an additional video which covers how to text in your application. It also has ad-free videos. It's downloadable. It includes the source code. It includes the database scripts, and it includes a over 40-page guide on designing your application. So even though the videos are on YouTube, it's also a paid course that has a lot of additional extras to it, which means if you want to get it for free, click on this playlist right here. Now, the Timco Retail Manager, we're still in the process of working on this, but this is step 1 or phase 1. And that's also on YouTube. But again, the paid version has all the source code on every video, as well as ad-free videos and downloadable videos. So again, there's some benefits here, but if you want the free version, just click on this playlist here. Now, there's one that we've kind of skipped over. I didn't include it in the easiest path here, and that is the weekly challenge. So the weekly challenge is right here, the weekly challenges, and there's a lot of challenges. Right now, it's 65 challenges here. If you are considering being a professional developer, I would highly encourage you to do the weekly challenges. While I am not in the habit of designing clickbaity things, okay, so I'm really trying hard not to say things like, this is practice for interviews. That's kind of what it is, because these weekly challenges, these are the type of things that I would give to a developer who I want to hire or potentially hire. I'd give them one of these challenges. And I'd say, okay, try this out. Do this for me because I want to see how you would do it. And there are challenges that cover a large range of C#, from the basic topics to a lot more advanced. So for example, refactoring. Here's a challenge just on refactoring code. I even provide some code for you to refactor. Error handling. How about database design in Visual Studio? Or how about providing me a prime number challenge? All right. Or let's scroll down even further, link, or publishing web apps to Azure. How do you use ASP.NET Core with Docker in DevOps? All right. How do you bulk file rename? And they even have down here a mini course on this Soda machine. And what this is a number of challenges about building a full application even. So it's not just a one-off challenge, it's kind of like a cumulative challenge. So these are the equivalent of interview questions or just challenges that make you identify, do I really know this topic? And that's highly important for any developer. You need to understand if you know the topic by doing it. Just watching a tutorial is not going to be enough. You need to be able to do the job. Because here's the thing, I have hired a number of developers and I've worked with even more developers. And one of the things that is true about developers is it doesn't really matter what your education level is at. It doesn't really matter how many certifications you have. It doesn't really matter where you went to school. What matters is, can you get the job done? And the weekly challenges really show that. Because if you can't do them, that means you can't do the job. Now, don't get discouraged, because guess what? None of us were born knowing how to do C#. We all have to learn it. And so the weekly challenges are a way to expose those things that you don't even realize you don't know yet. Again, I'm trying to help fill in these gaps for you because everyone has gaps. And so if you find that the weekly challenge, it seems easy and you go to do it and you're like, oh no, I don't know how to do that. Or you hit a snag and you're like, man, I thought this was easy, but I had a problem. Well, that's great. Now you know what to look for. Now you can take the learning path, figure out which section you're missing, and go learn that. But the best part is that you're not going to get stuck not knowing how to answer the question. Because on my site, if you go back to iamtimcorey.com and you look down here under View All Courses, one of the courses you'll see is the Weekly Challenges course, which I have the weekly challenge playlist right here. What's the difference? Well, this is all the challenges. And I would encourage you, just watch the challenge and do it. Because the challenge tells you when you're going to be successful. The challenge says, here's what to do. And if you do that and it works, then you're successful. However, if you get stuck or if you want to understand, how would Tim do this? That's where you get this Weekly Challenges course, where you can sign up, and for $15 a month, now it's going to change a little bit if you have VAT. So just know that it might be $18 or $19 a month, depending on the VAT that might be added to that number. This is the US price. You will get access to, let's scroll down here for a minute, all of these challenges. Okay? And there's a lot. And there's more being added every week. So you can even come here and preview and watch the challenge. But this will allow you to really hone those skills and ensure that you understand what you've learned. And I'm really big on that because, again, if I'm going to hire a developer, I'm not going to hire you based upon how many tutorials you've watched. I'm going to hire you based upon if you can get the job done. And the only way to know that is for you to prove it. So this is a way for you to prove it. Do these challenges. Ensure that you know how to do these topics. Okay? So that's the easy path. That's the self-guided path. I would encourage you to figure out where you are on this path and start taking steps down the path. Figure out what is next for me to learn. Now, I'm going to link to this PDF down in the description so you can get that. It's going to ask you for your email address and it will email you a copy of this PDF. Now, some people have asked, does that put me on some kind of list? Well, yes, actually it does. It's going to put you on a mailing list. However, if you've done that with any of my other videos, you're already on that mailing list. And if you've unsubscribed, you'll stay unsubscribed. Okay? I'm really big on not giving you emails you don't want. If you don't want it, say unsubscribe and you'll not get another email from me. However, if you subscribe for the first time, then what's going to happen is you're going to get an email from me. And in that email, it is my personal story. Now, of course, it is an automated email, but it is my story to you. And I have a question for you. And that question, I would love to hear your answer. And the question is, what's your biggest struggle? I want to know what your biggest struggle is because I want to provide resources like this. This resource comes out of people struggling. And this was their biggest struggle. And so I'm creating resources, I'm creating more even than this to help people get unstuck. And so if you email back and say, this is my struggle, then I will respond to that personally. Not automated. I will actually personally respond to it. It may take a few days for me to respond. I'm kind of busy. But I want to hear that because that helps me shape what resources I provide. But also, I will do my best in that response. I will do my best to give you information that you need. Okay? I will try and point you in the right direction in your specific case. But it's not going to end there because then the next automated email that comes, as long as you don't unsubscribe, I'm going to give you another free resource. It's a PDF that outlines how I design projects. It's the framework that I go through for ensuring that I have thought through a project and have figured out all the things I need to build this application before I start. But it's not going to stop there. I'm going to give you another resource the next day, and I'm going to ask you a question. And you're going to have 3 different options to choose from. And based upon that option, I'm going to give you even more resources. So I'm really trying hard with this mailing list to help give you free resources. Yes, I have paid resources. So if you go to iamtimcorey.com, you will see a list of, here's my featured courses, but you can see all the different courses I offer. And there's a lot of great courses in here that will help you get started or take you deeper in one area or another. And I am continuing to add to this. But I don't want money to stop you. I don't want this to be a barrier that you have to jump over. I would love to give it all away for free. I can't do that because the paid courses are what helps fund my free content. The great thing is there's a number of generous people out there. You may be one of them that have paid for my content and they help build stuff like this. They're the ones that provide the necessary resources so I can build even more content for you. So if you have paid in the past, I really appreciate it. Thank you. But don't feel like You have to pay. Use these resources. That's what they're there for. And take your next step in learning C#. Now, I've got a job for you. I want you to think through where you're at in this learning cycle, what step you're on, or what things you need to fill the gaps in on. Look over the resources I have and figure out, is there anything you think that maybe you missed or you're missing and that I might provide? And then down in the comments, ask for it, okay? Now, some of that may be, it's already there and you just missed it, and that's okay. I will help find it for you, okay? But maybe it's not there yet. People like you asking for something helps drive what content I give you, okay? My next course is coming out. It's going to be on Blazor server, and it is directly because so many people asked for this topic. So people asking drives what content comes out. So in the comments down below, tell me, what are you missing? What are the things that you want to see in a future video or in a series or in a course? What are you looking for? Okay, I keep a list and I increase the priority as more people ask for something. So definitely ask for it. If you see something that you're interested in as well, respond to that and comment and say, yes, me too. Okay, that way I know there are multiple people asking for this. Okay, also, if you have a favorite resource that you think others could benefit from, or a resource that I have provided that you really love, leave that down in the comments below. One note, try not to link to it. I know I wish we could, but adding a link usually gets it caught in the spam filters on YouTube. But just say, hey, my favorite resource is the async await video. That really helped me. Or it's the Dapper content, or it's the this course or that course, okay? Let us know, because it may help others figure out what to do next, okay? Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will read them, I will respond to them, and I will try and help you out, okay? Thanks again, and as always, I am Tim Corey.